Welcome to Jen Care's Live Talks powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, the show that brings the community to you Mondays at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations, featuring guests that help us stay in the know. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening, good day, depending on what time you are checking in, and welcome to another episode of Jen Cares. I am the host, Jen Cares. We are powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, and I am so excited to have you here on today. I hope that you had an amazing day, depending where you are. It's a little chilly, so please do stay warm. But here at Chosen Counselors, we are a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. And I love a good conversation because we're going to bring the community to you, and we're going to have some good tough talks and meaningful conversations. That means I stepped on my own toes too, okay, friends? But I do thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, share, follow, so you know all the good things that's going on over at Swag Her and what we might be doing with Chosen Counselors. Okay, I'm going to get right on into it. I'm excited for tonight. We have my good friend, Coach Jenay. We are going to talk about an annual review. And I came up with this idea because our jobs do an annual review, tongue twister, right? And they want to check and see, are you still a good fit for them? But guess what? I want you to also see if they're still a good fit for you, but not just your job. Everything you're connected to, we want to make sure everything is in alignment with your goals, with what it is you're trying to do. And that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to bring on up. Hey, Coach Jenay, come on up to the stage. How you doing, girl?
Hi, Jen. I'm great. I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited for today. I always like the end of the year where we can reflect on what's going on in life and see what all
Mhm.
those things. And this year flew by a little bit.
It did.
It's December. It's about to
It
be
did.
January before we know it.
Absolutely. It sure
I'm
did.
not rushing it up. So over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, life is a learning experience. What are you teaching? What are you learning? And that's by me. Again, life is a learning experience. What are you teaching? What are you learning? What are your thoughts on the quote for today?
Oh, what are you teaching and what are you learning? I love this because I hopefully, anytime I share anything or teach anything, it's something that I'm learning myself,
Yeah.
and then thinking about goals and things. I'm like learning to take leaps. So I'm also hopefully teaching others to take leaps as well. But I love that quote. That was well said.
Yes. Because so many things happen. And the hope is that we learn something from it.
Mm-hmm.
So we could teach somebody else. I'll never forget getting in conversations, and she was like, "Yeah, I just keep failing." And then I got to tell her story and my experience. I said, "Yeah, girl, it took me 3 times." All right, I told her I told my business. So it was time to get the degree, and you got to take this written test. And the
Yeah.
first time I went to take it, a lot of stuff was going on in life, and I was overwhelmed. I missed it by 5 points.
Mm,
I went to take it again. I'm now moving. Life is going on
mm,
again. I
yeah.
missed it by 16 points. Now, my birthday is 5/16. I said, what you trying to say, God?
Yeah.
I'm not a lottery player. I don't know if it won, none of those things. But it
Mm-hmm.
was on the third time that I took it. And now let me also tell you this. I also saw people cheating in the room, taking the test,
Mm-hmm.
everything going different ways. And I was like, no, I'm going to get this together. I'm going to bring my mind in. I'm going to focus. I'm going to get myself together and then work it out. And I was able to encourage her. She went and took the test and passed. I said, you go, girl. See, you can't give up. 3 times, 50
Yeah.
billion times, a quadrillion times. Don't give up. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
friends,
I
life
love
is a
that.
learning experience. You want to teach to encourage somebody else, and you also want to make sure you're learning.
Absolutely. I love that. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, even, being in school, and a lot of people are doing a lot of things to make it through. And
Mhm.
we often can have this fear of failure. And
Yes.
we have to kind of accept that it will happen at some point. But when we're failing, learn how to fail well and don't dwell.
Mhm.
Don't sit there. You know, you want to take it, you want to learn from it, and you want that to propel you to the next step. So I definitely have been learning that this year.
Oh, don't stay there. It's funny. A couple of weeks ago, we had Dr. Obiama, and she was breaking down her acronym BREATHE. It was like believe, release, embrace, accept, take action, heal, and what was the last E? I don't remember what the last E was. Oh, I can't think of it. But it was so cool because after hearing it, I was like, I need to create my own acronym, right? And in the same lines of what you just said, it's the format of it. I released in January once it's finalizing things, but really being kind to ourselves, taking that moment as we need it. Even in that brief that she had, I'm still taking that with me. You see, I remember it. I forgot what that last E was. But you know, that's really important for us. And again, as we're doing this annual review, what was your first thoughts when I reached out to talk about annual review?
Annual review. I was like, man, I need to start my own annual review. I need to get started. Like, it's that time that I reflect on the things and the goals that I set for this year, and also look forward to what I want to do. And what you said earlier about the year flying by, it really did. And I did a lot this year, and I'm very grateful for it. A lot of transitions. And I think I have to sit back, and I'm actually going through writing my goals out. I don't always do it in one sitting. It's a few sittings of getting everything together. So that was kind of what came to mind when you first reached out.
Yes. So can we talk about that? I want you to share like what your process is. I share like what my process is. Friends in the comments, drop down what your process is. If you even do an annual review, like an annual review, I never thought of it. I can get started today too. Yeah. So go ahead. How's your process?
So really, honestly, what I start out is with a paper and pen. You can also do it on computer. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, when I write down my goals with a paper and pen, I'm connected to it more. Like I feel more connected to it and it sticks more. So I'll write out. I remember when I first started, I would write out the things I wanted to do next year. Even if they seemed like they were outlandish, they were crazy, it was too much. I wrote it down because this is what I want to do. We'll assess if I can do it later, but this is what I want to do. And as I progressed, I started to do categories like, okay, financial goals or house improvement goals and spiritual growth group goals, goals for ministry. And it started to grow from there. And I'm still, you know, parsing out what works for me, but that's been working for me the last few years. And every time I go back and look at my list, I'll write in, oh, like I did this or I had to adjust that. And that's been working for me. And the thing that's important is that it matters to you. You want something that connects to you. Because if I just had a Google Doc, I don't know how connected I would be. I probably will get to that point where I would need something like that. But for me, my paper and pen is goals and gold for me. So that's kind of how I go about my goals. And it's been very fruitful for me.
Gotcha. All my Gen Cares friends know I always have a notebook and pen when I do live, and I'm always taking notes and things. And it's the same. I love a paper and pen. And what I normally do is I'll like go on my final date of the year. I'll take myself out to dinner. And I'll go and I'll sit down and I'll reflect on the year, the highs, the mids, the lows, the lowers, you know. But I also want to focus on those wins because sometimes we'll see those low moments and we'll be like, dang. But Jennifer, more wins happen than those lows. So you got to find that balance in that. And that could be hard sometimes. But I'll write out and I'll reflect and I'll be like, yo, you did a lot this year. That was pretty dope, right? And from that, I build, like you said, like what I want for the new year, financially, spiritually, emotionally. Like I'm not gonna get tripped up by nobody else's son this year because they be playing games, you know. Financially, I'm not gonna just go in the store and be like, swipe my card. Though you have it when you need it.
Right.
And sometimes I don't need it, right? I'm grateful that I can do that. But I don't want to say it too much because my nieces and nephews would be just smile up there here. They're like, Aunt Jen, let me get, you know. You want to be financially smart with your funds as well, right? Because just because you're able to explore and do those things, you want to make sure you are still saving for that rainy day because it's so important. But spiritual goals, you know, I need to read my Bible a little bit more. You start these plans and then don't finish them. But just all those things. And I kind of try to write it out and I go back to it every so often, probably like once a month. To make sure I'm still in alignment with it too. And that could be hard. How do you handle when you're struggling to stay on task with the things that you said you wanted to do?
Woo. Okay, first, I have to be honest with myself.
Mhm.
I also have to be gentle with myself and forgive. I have to
Yes.
forgive myself
Yes.
because I know there's been times, and even now, where I'll get tripped up and afraid of the fact that I haven't done something, and I'm
Mhm.
running from it, and I'm in the corner hiding my face
Yeah.
instead of facing it. I know a lot of times the fear of not getting something done becomes
Mhm.
bigger than actually facing it not getting done. So instead of me
Mm.
facing it and going to do it, I run and I'm in
Yeah.
this perpetual cycle. So I gotta forgive myself. And no, it's not the end of the world. It's
Mhm.
okay. Like you didn't make your savings goal. Now what? Take a deep
Mhm.
breath. Take
Mhm.
a deep
Mhm.
breath
Mhm.
and allow yourself to get back on track and also adjust if you need to. Sometimes we got to adjust what's happening, even doing smart goals. That's another way of, planning out your goals. And if you need to adjust, that's good. And it also tells you that you're paying attention to your goals and you're being honest. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Now, this is, you done said adjust a couple times. I want to use this word because this is really
Mhm.
good. Because sometimes we get on one path and we feel like that's the only way, right? Let's
Yeah.
break that down. I use this analogy with kids often they're doing proofs.
Hmm.
A dime. To get a dime, you either need a dime, two nickels, 10 pennies, a nickel and 5 pennies, but it all gets us there. So
Yeah.
if the pennies take us a little longer, because it's hard to find them since they say they're extinct and things of that sort, right?
Yeah.
It is okay. You got to adjust as needed to get to that 10. And then if you just add another nickel, you got your 10, you know? But being able to give yourself grace and adjust as needed. There's sometimes you're on the road and it's a detour. You have to adjust as needed. And I know to my road rage people out there, you be like, now what's going on? Why can't I get this the way I go? We have to adjust because obviously we can't go that way anymore, right? And
Mhm.
that's so important. I love that you threw out that word because that's a big one. And people struggle with adjusting and changing because they're used to one way. Let's talk about that.
Ooh, one way. Again, I think I've learned to grow faster when I adjust
Mhm,
because
mhm,
nothing stays static, and even our lives shouldn't stay static. And
right,
even me loving the Lord as a believer, I'm like, you know what? I need to step back and talk to the Lord about what adjustments I need to make because I
mhm,
can set my plans. I want to, I make my plans, but the Lord can adjust them as He sees fit. And that provides flexibility because, and it also reminds me that it's not all on you, Janae.
mhm,
You don't have to do everything all the time, and it's okay to struggle through and you grow in that. If all my plans were the same as when I set them, I don't know. Sometimes it's cool, but then I have to ask myself, am I challenging myself enough? Am
mhm.
I so married to an old vision that might need to shift and change? Am I allowing that growth to happen? And that also comes with vulnerability because sometimes we don't want to admit that we need help and we're, not doing well in that moment. It's a struggle.
You know, it's funny. I love when I plan ahead and have stuff, but I also love when you give me some stuff that we can work with. Let's go with this. Because it's not all on you. And that's a big one. That's kind of why I went into the field of social work, right? Because I feel like people needed to be connected with resources, but they didn't always want to ask for those resources. So if I'm having a random conversation with somebody, they don't necessarily know that my background is in social work or that I'm connected to some resource. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should try this. Or you could go over to such and such and they could work it out. It's
Mm,
not all on you. You don't have to do it alone.
yeah.
Mm. You
Mm,
could take off the Superwoman cape. You could take off the Superman cape. Reach out and get some help. You cannot do it all alone. There are some things that you can do, but baby, there's some things that you can't do all by yourself. It's
nope.
okay to ask for help. It's
Mm,
okay.
amen.
Friends, what are some things you do? Do you feel like it's all on you? Come on, comment in it. Let's interact and talk a little bit on today. We're doing an annual review for all of us. Let us know we're not out here by ourselves. I know I'm not, but let
Well,
me see. Let me see.
well,
Another part you said was challenge yourself. Let's talk about it.
mm, challenge yourself. A lot of times when we're facing, I try to challenge myself with my fears.
Mm,
The thing that I'm afraid of the most, I've practiced looking it in the eye. I'm not
mm,
saying that I'm always perfect with it. I'm not saying I always do it well, but
mm,
those are the things that I know that I can make movement in. And
mm,
oftentimes, the things you find terrifying could be the things that you might be the best at. sometimes that could be the thing that's you're discouraged in the most. Like, oh, you have
Mhm,
a gift of speaking, you have a gift of helping people or cooking or whatever it is. And sometimes our fear comes up there the most.
mhm,
And it's
mhm.
like, let me consider. Let me
Yeah,
at least consider it so that I can grow. And it's been a beautiful journey for me because it also um, fear doesn't have a hold on me like it used to.
yeah,
It
yeah.
diminishes the impact of it. I can experience it and also let it go at the same time. Because there were times in my life where I would experience it, but I'm holding on to it. It's my baby,
Mhm,
cradling
mhm,
it. This is my fear.
mhm.
Don't say nothing about my fear. Don't
Yes.
challenge me. Don't take it away from me. And that sounds
Mhm,
odd, but a lot of times we do that. We coddle it instead of
mhm.
allowing it to leave, so we don't,
Yeah.
live in that space.
So true. Looking fear in the eye. There was an email that came out a couple of months ago, and they were looking for people to do something for a program. And the worst they could say was no, right?
Hmm.
So I reached out. I said, "Let me try it. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? This would be amazing. Jennifer, you know how to do this. You could do this, girl." Until
Hmm.
it gets to her, like, "Who can I do this?" Because we get
Yeah.
nervous.
Hmm.
And they started doing promotions and things. And I was like, oh, wait, they added a feature for what I submitted for. And then
Hmm.
I was like, but I didn't get nothing. The very next day, I saw my email say, congratulations again, where I was accepted to be able to do the thing. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the scoop now. I'm gonna do a video eventually when I get it all together. Um, but I was just so overwhelmed with gratitude because a
Hmm.
lot of times that we're fearful of things, if we just step out, we never know the possibilities of what could come from it. And though it may be a no or it might be a not yet, it's still possible that it can happen. And it's also okay if it's a not never. But
Yeah.
you gotta look in the eye of like, at least I tried. What's the worst that can happen? At least I tried. And in this case, I succeeded you
Exactly.
know? And that's the thing too. I always think of the image of the guy who's like hitting at the rock, and then
Yeah.
he goes to walk away and he hit 5 more times. And I'm random numbers of five. I don't even know how
Hmm.
many times he to get where he was, right? But he would have been there. And sometimes we
Hmm.
give up too soon because of fear, but we cannot let it stop us. Mm.
Absolutely. Mm.
Now, something else you said was married to an old vision, right?
Hmm.
And that's with fear too, right? Because I was with this and this is how it worked out. This is how I thought it was supposed to be. Now I'm locked in. I think I'm really tangled up in this thing and don't know how to get out because of fear. So, what are some things to help us to divorce old visions?
Woo. You know, definitely for me again, as a believer, I believe that the vision that I have comes from the Lord.
Mm-hmm,
Okay. Whatever I'm doing is coming from an overflow of somewhere else.
mm-hmm,
So that if the vision isn't totally coming from me, then I need to submit it,
mm-hmm,
often, every so often, to be like, am I going about this right? Because
mm-hmm.
again, we're limited, and that's
Yes,
okay. And sometimes we don't see the end until we go, right? You
yeah,
see as you go. And at times, what I thought things were going to be in the beginning is not how it's shaping out to be. And
yeah,
instead of allowing that to discourage you, just reevaluate. Just
yeah,
reevaluate. Maybe the
mm,
vision is bigger. Maybe the
yeah.
vision is for a season more so than you think is forever.
Mm-hmm,
Maybe it's something for you to nurture and then pass on to somebody else. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And all those things are great and beautiful. You just
Yeah,
got to know which is which. But you got to
mm,
continue to check in,
yeah,
check
yeah,
in. And
yeah.
it's okay if you're not perfect, but just keeping your ear open to what might need to change. So,
Now, now, girl, I already told her I'd be telling my business right now. She was saying it. I was reflecting because I started reflecting on last year where I was around the time, right?
yeah.
And even in being a believer,
Hmm.
sometimes we get in some stuff that ain't what we supposed to be in, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I was trying to connect with some stuff I wasn't supposed to be in. Not always bad stuff. Get your minds right. Y'all do some stuff too. And in my conversation with God, he was like, "You got distracted."
Hmm.
So I do have this for you, not right now, right? And sometimes we get in married to something that's not even an old vision. It's something like, oh, I think this is Jesus, this is for me. And it's not for you. Or you feel like it's the will for you. Everybody's been where maybe they've gotten a job and it wasn't a job for them to have. They're connected with a person, place, or thing wherever you find yourself, and it wasn't right for you, but you thought it was good. When I
Yeah.
first moved back to Philly, I was trying to find a job. It was taking forever. I had 3 different interviews. They were all offering me jobs. I'm trying to see which one I'm going to go to. And that's a blessing because sometimes you can apply for a job and they be like, no. And you overqualified. But nevertheless, one of the 3 options that I had, the one that I took was like a managerial position and things that sort of being a supervisor. I said, yeah, we got this. We can do this. And I felt like I was hazed that entire month. So though I thought it was a good fit for me, I don't know that I really consulted how I needed to consult to make sure I should have said yes.
Yeah.
Because that yes turned into why, you know? And it was grief. I wasn't having fun at work. It was stressful. It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I went back to one of the other agencies. I said, hey, my name is Jennifer Harris. I don't know if you remember me, but you interviewed me a month ago. I only lasted a month, friends. This is the important part of making sure your vision is aligning with what it is that you really want to do. And I said, I just want to know if the position is still available. She said, yes. When can you start? Monday. This was on a Thursday, friends. I went back to that job. I went on my lunch to go see her. That's how desperate I was to get out of that situation. And sometimes when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you get in some things you got to review and adjust to find where you need to be. I had that Friday off. I released, as Dr. Langhorn told us to do. And then I went to a new job on Monday, and it was amazing. It had everything I needed it to be. I wanted to go back to pursue a master's. The luxury of the leisure that I had in the job allowed me to do those things. So sometimes we feel like we in the right will. Sometimes we feel like we in the right way. But I want you to just take a moment to check it one more time. I got a friend, if she here, don't go in the comments, friend. That's not what I'm saying to do. But I was trying to explore something. She was like, did God tell you to do that? I rolled my eyes at her. And then I wasn't sure she saw me roll my eyes at her. So I said, let me roll my eyes again so she could see me, right? But in that, it was love. So it's also important for who we have around us to really help guide us to make sure we're on the right path we're supposed to be on. Because I wasn't supposed to be on that path either. However, I got off because I listened to her wise counsel. Because I didn't want to have to be stressed. I knew that yes before. So I want a good yes. Come on.
You also didn't allow your pride to get in the way. You didn't allow your pride to get in the way. You said, okay, I see what's happening. I see what move I need to make. I have to go back. And that's another thing that can hold us back is our pride of whatever it is. But it's okay to be humbled. It's okay to be wrong. And it's better to make that adjustment. That's wisdom.
Yes.
It's a lack of wisdom when we know something we should be doing and we don't do it. Wisdom isn't just knowing, it's knowing and doing.
Yes. She is a real friend, and I love her. I appreciate it. She's like, I was just trying to help you. You was, and I'm sorry that I didn't listen because sometimes we have people that really do want good for us.
Yeah.
And like you said, their pride leaders are like, no, it's my time to shine. This is for me. This was supposed to happen. No, baby, hold on just a little bit. Hold on just a little bit. Sometimes it does not work out. Oh, hey, Mama Wanda. I love Mama Wanda. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mama. Yes, you got to make sure that you divorce old visions, that you're being honest with yourself, that you're challenging yourself. Because sometimes you got to say no.
You got to say no. And it's just making me think about, earlier we were talking about just being able to say no to what you're doing in the moment so you can say yes to what you need to be focusing on and moving into. Early few months ago, like leaving a job, a part-time job, but the extra money was nice. It was nice and allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. And I always want to do what I want to do, But having to step back and say, okay, Jenay, you're going to have to adjust so that you can walk into this new space and, becoming a coach and still developing my coaching business and having to take a step back and do that. I hear about people doing it all the time, but then when it's your time, it's kind of like, am I ready or not? I don't know. And it gets scary because I'm like, okay, Lord, am I really going to have enough to do what needs to be done? And then having to be like, okay, today I have enough. That's good. Let tomorrow worry about itself. And the Lord is going to continue to carry me. And even if it's not exactly the way I think it is, it's going to be okay. Like I need to continue to walk. When the Lord shows me some steps, let me go.
And it sounds like a piece of sacrifice a little bit, right? You dying to yourself. I wish I could remember. I can't remember verbatim. Same friend, she was on a panel, and she'll hit it and quit it, but she'll eat you up with some good nuggets and like take you
Mhm.
on. But she was sharing how I gave up what I wanted for who I loved. Something to that extent of how like I wanted that, but who I loved wanted greater for me. So I had to let that go because I want to be in alignment with God. I want to be in alignment with what His will is for my life. And there's many things that sometimes you give up and you feel like you lost, you didn't win, everybody else is shining or whatever it is and things of that sort. But when you know that you are at peace, it's nothing like good peace. Being at ease, knowing that you're in the right realm of where you're supposed to be. Because we've been in some situations where it's like, what was I thinking? And
Mhm.
then we're doing that for God. If you get me out, I promise I won't do this again. And friends,
Right.
I wanted to say prayer, but I don't want to say prayer because we mess up. We be like, oh, I did it
Yep.
again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not help me, God, to be
Right.
mindful of
Yeah.
the situations and the thoughts that I make. You enlarge my footsteps, but I don't want to keep on just getting stuck in this enlarged footstep. I want to be able to go into new areas and new territories, but I
Okay.
can't do that if I keep on tripping on my feet here. So that's so good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. That's good.
Man. Yes, I gave up. This was my sister here. I gave up what I liked for the God I love. Oh,
Ooh, that's good. And that's important because you have to love God.
you you have to love God.
Some seasons I don't think I love God.
Whoop, come on,
So I have to be honest.
come
Sometimes
on.
because it's like now whatever you love is going to come up. Whatever you love is going
Yes,
to be on the throne of your heart, and that's going to show up.
yes,
So if you don't love
yes.
God, you're not going to make the decisions that you need to make, and mm, that's honest.
So every so often I'll run back a service and things of that sort. And today I ran back a service. A couple of weeks ago, a guy had come to minister at our church, and he was like, "Today is for you." I was like, "I'll be the judge of that," because I was in a funky place.
Mhm.
Honest, come on, we go to church, but sometimes we can be over it, right? I was like, "I'll be the judge of that," because it's like today is for you. When
Mm,
I tell you, I wept his entire sermon.
mm,
I found myself. God found me
yeah.
of pieces
Yeah.
of like, God, I trust you, but it looked like it ain't working out. Like, God, I thought you had my back, but right now it don't feel like you got my back. It actually feel like you in another town, and these people about to jump me, and you ain't here, right? But in
Mhm.
that, He's trying to grow me. In that, He's trying to strengthen me, and I'm like over
Yeah.
it. And when I say that word today, encourage my heart again, just to know of the importance of trusting God,
Yeah.
of trusting God. We got history. We're never going back. He knows what He's doing, right? But
He
sometimes it
knows.
don't feel that way. So
It
I know
don't.
what you're saying.
It don't feel that way. And knowing that the trials that we go through are for our
Yeah.
benefit. It's
Mm-hmm.
for our benefit. And to
Yeah.
look at it that way. A lot of times we try to escape a lesson before we've learned.
Yeah.
And I know my
Mm.
pastor will always say, like, if you don't learn it now, you're gonna sit in class again.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know I'll stay in classes in a few things, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I've learned. If there's
Yeah.
anything else,
Yeah.
but even in all of that, Lord, you also can give me peace in the midst of the
Yeah.
trials as well,
Yeah.
and joy. You didn't say
Yes.
I couldn't have peace and joy if I'm going through, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I created, a lesson you want me to learn, or something
Yeah.
somebody else did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still peace that I can have here.
Yes.
That's I'm chasing peace and joy all day.
All that. All that.
Day.
And let me also clarify, that was a season, that was a moment, and I appreciate my relationship with God because I can have a whole tantrum.
Mhm.
I do have a whole tantrum, right? And He lets me have a moment, and when I come to, I be like, but God, I thank you. But
Yeah.
it's saying, yes, I know all those things are going on, but I trust you. You are perfecting the things that concern me. You are thinking of me, and He does different things to let me know. Oh, oh, God, you love me. I went away and I was by myself, and I was like, this ain't nothing. Come on, you just do what you do. You take yourself out to eat. You do what you gotta do in another state and things that sort. And I was like, it is what it is. It won't always be like this. Sometimes you can hang out with people, sometimes you can't. This is a season of being alone. Amen. I'm embracing it. And the last day of the event, I was walking out of the room as it was coming to an end, and a lady walked next to me. She's like, Jennifer. I was like, hi. Somebody I knew. She said, what you doing? Well, I was thinking of just going around the town to see a little bit, sightseeing, things of that sort.
Yeah.
With you? And I looked up to heaven. I said, God, because I just was saying how I felt like I was by myself. I was doing this by myself.
Mm.
And immediately he brought somebody to hang out with me so I could go and see the city. Wasn't by myself, had somebody to watch my back because I watched their back. Not that something would happen, but we never know. Watch and pray, right? And I was just so appreciative in that moment of God, you quickly came to see about me.
Yes.
Quickly came to see. And I'm just
Mm,
truly grateful of again being able to trust the process.
mm, that's
Not
good.
always easy. Yes, it's just having a tantrum just for a moment. It is not just
Mm,
you, friend. It is not just you. Yes, God has a way of snatching us out of our human moment. He does. Because he'll remind us. And it's like, God, I got to be careful not to complain. I vent a little bit, I fuss a little bit, but I get right back in alignment of, nevertheless,
yeah.
not my will, but
And
your will be done.
your will be done.
Mm.
Amen. Amen. Quickly coming to see about you.
He will quickly.
Mm, sometimes it's not what we want though.
Oh, never.
Sometimes, but it's beautiful being able to practice seeing it. Like,
Yes,
Lord, help
yes,
me to see it. I know
yes,
you heard me.
yes. And knowing that he is there. Mm, yes. And I appreciate that he don't come how I thought. He don't come unexpected every time. He gonna come through the window, through the
Yeah.
chimney, through the basement, somewhere, but he gonna come through and see about me. Ah,
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. So obviously when we are exploring, reviewing our gear, we gotta who? Include God, talk to God, find out what's going on that we doing what God wants us to do.
Right.
Because I would hate for you to make up some plans and then God be like, that's cute. But this is what I really want you to do,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you want to
Mhm.
include God and exploring what those goals are. And I promise you, when I reflect on this year, God has blown my mind.
Yeah.
Opportunities, doors open, doors closed. So it's
Mm.
really important for you to have that connection with God to know what it is you should be doing, what it is you shouldn't be doing. It works. It
Ooh.
works.
It was it this year? I think I was sitting on the edge of my bed and I was just like, all right, Lord, what you doing? What's
Yes,
happening?
yes,
And I definitely felt like I heard this voice. And that's not something that happens all the time, but it was like just the words like, "Are you ready for me to move you?"
mm,
And I was just like, I'm not ready. What do you
yes,
mean? And that was an
yes.
honest answer. I was not ready. And I know in that time I was, there's a transition that needed to happen. I used to work
Mhm,
in teen ministry for
mhm,
years. That was
mhm,
me. Like you heard teens, it was me. You know what I mean? And I loved it and I enjoyed it. But I did feel the Lord doing something and I wasn't sure what it was. But
mhm,
that was definitely part of it.
yeah,
Leaving that ministry,
mhm,
actually more handing it off to
mhm,
others who can grow it, and the Lord is going to use that. And if I had stayed longer, it would have been not good because that's not where the Lord would have me to
mhm,
be. And
mhm,
just even saying yes to that, even though that was a adjustment to my plans,
mhm,
saying yes to that, it allowed me to be able to move into doing women's ministry, what I'm doing now, which I didn't think that I would do.
mhm,
Some people say they
mhm,
already saw it coming, but I was like, wow, Lord, that right there, I need to store up in my heart and
mhm,
remember that time
mhm.
because that was a moment where you spoke to me, you told me something very clear,
Yeah,
and now I can see why. I don't
yeah,
always see why, but I'm like, okay, here's an example, and
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. I don't always see why, but guess what? I'm still gonna keep on trucking. I'm gonna keep on trucking. And that's so good. I've been recently having conversations with people about that of leaving or not leaving. And
Mm-hmm.
the part was they were sharing how they were feeling uncomfortable. They felt like it was time for them to go. And I wanted to challenge them because even in feeling uncomfortable, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you should go.
Right.
Sometimes it's
Right.
opening up your eyes. When you say you didn't get an assignment that you wasn't even thinking you was going to get, you'll see my picture in that dictionary, as well. Because I wasn't looking for it, I wasn't like crying
Yeah.
for it. I was just like, God, something got to give. That's what I was saying. Because
Mm.
something's going on. I'm not quite sure what it is, what you're trying to do, and things that sort. And
Yeah.
when I tell you that moment of that assignment shift that saved my life, because I was on the brink of like, yeah, I'm just gonna do little me. Maybe I should
Mm-hmm.
fall back. Maybe this ain't for me anymore,
Yeah.
right? And when I say he saved my life again, he saved my life again, and that's why it's so important for us to really sit in something before we're making rash decisions, right? Because somebody come along, oh, this is a deal. We got to get this. We got to hype on this. And then you get it and it's a dud. Friends,
Ooh.
there are some things you should move quickly on, but you want to make sure that you have consulted before you did it. And I was just saying, young lady, don't leave until you know for sure you're supposed to leave. I promise. Because I was a whole bunch of different thoughts in my head. I was frustrated. I was irritated. I was agitated. I didn't like how I was feeling.
Yeah.
But I had to sit there until I knew for sure. And in that moment, God was still pruning me. God was still cleaning me. God was still doing everything he had to do to get me together because he's about to open up another door. And I'm grateful because he cares about us that much.
He does. You know, that makes me think about in the Bible, Mary did this, the mother of Jesus. Jacob did this.
Mhm.
They pondered things in their hearts. The Lord told them something. So Gabriel, the angel, came to Mary, was like, hey, you're about to have Jesus.
Yes.
And she's like, this doesn't really make sense. I'm a little
Yeah.
unsure about these things, but she pondered these things up in her heart.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
you think about it, for years, she was ridiculed, right?
mhm.
Because they were looking at her in a negative way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until years later she was able to see what the Lord had done, right? The things that she had pondered in her heart that she had to keep close. And even Jacob with his son Joseph and telling him the dreams, like, hey, I'm having a dream about this, and y'all bowing down to me. And he's like, okay, like, I don't
Yeah.
understand this. But he pondered that in his heart. And that's a really important thing. So what you said about just not being hasty and
Yeah.
just sitting in something,
Mhm.
and we gotta sometimes know how to sit, because
Yeah.
sometimes we sit grunting.
Mhm, mhm.
And again, I don't know if I can have peace if I'm grunting.
Right.
I don't know if I
Right.
can have joy if I'm grunting. Now,
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
saying that I'm always peaceful and
Mhm,
joyful when I'm
mhm.
waiting and sitting in something, but I'm practicing it as I go so I
Yeah.
can do it more.
Yes. I love that. Definitely, it's like renewing like your mind daily, and like you gotta catch yourself throughout the day. And my special self will wear a shirt that'll say God made or something about Jesus. And when I tell you something that happened to try to test me, I'm like, dang on it, God. I'm like, I should have had to try Jesus, not me. All right, y'all been there too. Y'all been there too, right? But being intentional and mindful of our interactions with people. Because sometimes it's to help us to be careful, for us to take a moment before jumping into something, because we'll be ready to go home and we gotta bring it back in, bring it back in. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is my bridle on my tongue today. It says God made this happen. So let me get myself together because we'll get anxious, we'll get impatient, we'll get different things of that sort.
Yeah.
And the people like, yeah, you just gotta wait. You're right. Have a
Gotta
good day. Let me get myself together. I love this.
wait.
Ah, but another part you shared, we just everywhere. I'm gonna bring you back. Because
Okay.
we're talking about the stuff I want to talk about. We are talking about what we need to talk about. So that's what
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah, bring me
Um,
back if you need
yeah, yeah.
to.
Another part you said though was the vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Needing help. And still all tied into doing a review, we gotta find what was the times that I should have asked for help because I thought I could do it all by myself, but I really should have tapped in to the resources that I had, right? And I'm reminded of the story where it was a flood and a man is on top of his roof and he's like, God save me, God save me. And a
Mm-hmm.
guy comes along with a boat. No, God's going to save me. A guy comes along in a helicopter with the rope hanging down. No, God's going to save me. They came along with something else. No, God is going to save me. God
Yeah.
uses people, and sometimes we are turning people away. So let's talk about the importance of us being open to those that come along to help us because God sends them along. And that part of just tapping somebody's shoulder and saying, hey, could you help me out?
Oh man, I know for me, vulnerability historically has been hard
Mhm,
because I have developed this exterior of like, okay, I gotta be able to do it on my own, and
mhm,
if I can't do it on my own, that means that I'm lacking something in a negative way. The
mhm.
truth is, we're all lacking something,
Oh,
but it doesn't mean that I'm less of somebody.
yeah.
Okay. And we're stronger together, and being able to tap into community is so important.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
important. And we're not meant to live life alone. And
Mhm,
I really had to learn this. I remember even my pastor, I don't even know if he remembers this, but he said to me, he was like, I want to hear from you more.
mhm.
Actually want to hear from you more. And I just was like, okay, like this is something that's being pointed out. And I know there are things that God puts on my heart, but I was very afraid of sharing. And I would be like, oh, later. later,
Mhm.
later.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like the Lord is like, I need you now.
Yeah.
I need you to do this now. So it calls for me to be vulnerable and to
Yeah.
put myself out there,
Yeah.
and also know that I'm doing it for a bigger reason than myself. So I can't allow myself to get in the way. The only thing
Yes.
that should get in the way is the person who gave me the vision to do it. So the Lord can get in the way if he's like, stop, but I can't get in the way. And again, I have to practice this. It's not perfect, but
Mhm.
this is the journey that I'm walking on so that I can lean on others and provide. And also knowing that, when you're vulnerable, more people want to kind of ask you things because they're like, oh, I can relate to
Mhm.
you. You're not perfect, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
share with the hardships that you're going through. So now I feel comfortable coming to you with my hardships, and that's important. It's so important. And then you learn from others and you grow. And it's a beautiful time. And you don't have to live life alone.
Yes. Oh, let me say how I could clean this up of what I want to say. Um, because I promise I'm not being shady. Maybe I am. Um, because there's sometimes you can get in conversation with people and they are this, I'm that, and things like that. I need the real you to stand up. Because
Mm,
though we are amazing and all those different things, it's that vulnerability of you being like, look, I was about to give up. I was tired too. That really helps me to connect because I was like, if you're always up there, something must be wrong with me. So then I'm really going to cray like,
right.
what is wrong with me? Right. And it's not that it's something wrong with you. It's like the humanness, like really just being honest of, yes, th- I, yes, it's hard, but you can make
Mhm.
it. And that is really important. The other part was I can't allow myself to get in the way
Yeah.
because we'll self sabotage in a heartbeat.
Let me tell you something. I feel like this happens every few weeks when I look at the things that the Lord has put around me and the
Mhm.
people and the resources. And what I needed was a perspective change
Yeah.
because the Lord had given me everything I needed in that moment. But because of me,
Mm.
partially pride, because when I think about pride, I think about thinking about me.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
all about me, what I can
Mhm.
do, what I can't do, what I've
Yeah.
been disenfranchised from, and I'm just living in that space, and I'm negating all the other things that I can do, how I can mobilize different things. Even if
Yeah.
it's a little push, it can
Mhm.
still be done. So let me stop thinking about me and meditating on what I can't do, but who can do it? Because I know somebody who can. And let me go call in my community. Let me be vulnerable and saying, hey, can you help me with this? I need support in this. And that's just a beautiful thing. It makes life better.
Yeah.
People are people, but life is better together than alone.
For sure. For sure. I like this. We need community. Why is it so hard to get genuine people? You want to start?
Ooh, because people scared.
Come
Like you
on.
just said, like nobody wants to be looked at like, oh, you doing your thing, but you're not really doing your thing.
Mhm.
That's kind of how you feel. You like, oh, you're
Yeah.
doing all of these things, and you doing this, and you doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we want people to maintain the vision of us of
Mhm.
like doing the thing. So to be genuine and say like, I that thing happened, but I
Yeah.
did it, and my confidence wasn't that high that day,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Or these are all the things that the Lord has put in my heart, but I'm too afraid to step into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got to work with people to allow them to shed those layers so they can be genuine. I think
Mhm.
people want to be genuine, but they just have a hard time. And you got to meet
Mhm.
people where they are. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, I see that there's an exterior here, but it's okay. Let's warm up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
icy, but it's okay. And everybody has different capacities for different
Mhm.
people and things. But when you find a person that you can walk alongside to help them be vulnerable, sometimes that means putting yourself out there a little bit.
Mhm.
You don't
Mhm.
know what people want to do with your information. You have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it for me.
Mhm.
It's something greater that I'm looking for and I want to achieve. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Another part is in the world we live in today, social media is something else, right?
Mhm.
And some people tell all their business, some people don't tell all their business. Um, some tell business that's not even their business, right? But the comments that come can sometimes be so damaging and so sad that it makes people not want to be genuine, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading a story. The young lady was sharing how she was talking to this guy. It didn't work out. Um, she didn't met somebody new. Sometime in the past, she met somebody new. The other guy found out. He then kidnaps her. Whole bunch of craziness going on, right? And
Mm.
then she had called the guy. All right. So she met this new guy and he was telling her to pray, like, if things need to be taken away from you or you don't need to be a part of things, pray and ask God to come to your heart and to remove those things. Shortly after, that's when the guy found out he kidnapped her and things of that sort. She called him to say, hey, something's going on. I just want you to stay on the phone and things of that sort. He stayed on the phone with her. Situation, the guy, the ex-boyfriend ended up leaving. The new guy showed up and was able to take her to a safe place. She was fine and things of that sort. And she was just sharing how people were like coming at her for, why are you sharing this story and things of that sort. She said, because people are still being kidnapped. People are still not surviving being kidnapped, you know? And I'm trying to encourage somebody, if something feels off, don't do it. Right? And sometimes people are trying to help us. Life is a learning experience. Whether you teach them, whether you're learning, people are trying to teach us some things, but we ain't trying to learn what they putting down. They're trying to save us. Be careful. Don't go out there because you could get harmed. If you feel in your gut, and we don't always trust our intuition sometimes, and we should a little bit more, because they say, don't go that way. Don't do this. Don't do that. I'm like, I'm gonna see for myself. You know, it's the girl that was going to meet. And then she found out maybe I should not have seen for myself. So in that, you know, it's so hard for people to be genuine because they, you know, are putting a good foot forward and somebody's always attacking. So what I say to that is still keep sharing your story. Still keep sharing what it is on your heart to share with somebody, because somebody is reading, somebody is hearing, somebody is being encouraged by your story. In you showing who you are, in you bearing all. It's some videos where people go live and they'll be crying. We're like, why are they crying? They're so dramatic because it hits home. Some of them may be doing it for the camera, but some people are really trying to help you out and say, don't do like me. Go the other way, you know? And that's a challenge for people to be genuine because it's not always well received.
That's good. That's good.
Shasta said, I find that people are really selective with their support, but we need community to get where we all want to be. For sure. Let's talk about selective with their support. Why do you think people selective?
Ooh, you know, I'm not against being selective, but I think we need to adjust what our criteria is. Okay. You know, some people are selective and they're selective because they just want to keep people out. You know, I think that it is important, you know, everybody's in a different space and you don't want to catch your pearls among swine. So you don't want to give out information to those that aren't going to do well with it or it's going to be too damaging. So figuring out who you can be really close with and share those deep things with. And then that next layer of like, okay, you can share with, you may not go as deep, but you're willing to be in community with them. And then I believe there's a layer of people that you're going to share things to, but don't expect anything back. And when I say that, it's like just allow your story to be a benefit, you know, and allow that to be that and be okay with it. And you don't have to have a lot of friends, you know, your inner circle don't have to be huge, but you want to be mindful and you want to be thoughtful about it and make sure your goal isn't to, you know, keep people out, but you want to make sure that everyone finds the space that they need to be in. Even Jesus had disciples, and then there were some people that was like, let me follow you, Jesus, you just healed me. He's like, no, actually your space is here. This is what I need you to do right here. So helping people find what those spaces are, it may not be close to you, but it could be close to somebody else because community is something we're all called to.
Yes. I think another part that's important for us to be mindful and have discernment, right? Because there's some people that you're giving support to that just keep coming back to you because they know you're going to keep saying yes. And you're robbing Peter to pay Paul to make sure you can meet the need for them, or you struggling. They don't know. They just know, oh, I'm going to go to Jenay. She got me. She got me. She got me. There comes a time when she doesn't have you, right? So you also got to be selective. Just continue to pour and pour and pour, and it's not going anywhere. Now, again, there are some situations where you do keep on reaching out, you know, children, things that sort, loved ones, and things that sort that are, you know, trying to do different things. We're still available to love them. But again, just being smart, because there's stories. I saw a story the other week where a young lady let her cousin come in house after, you know, getting out of jail and things that sort, but he wasn't all together. And then he ended up harming her and her child. So again, we also have to be smart. Again, because something God, is this the move you want me to do? Or is this something I shouldn't do? Let me connect you with some resources of people who are professionals to be able to handle it, you know? Because again, you're trying to take it on like, I could do it. Let's get them with somebody that can do it. There are some free programs out there depending on the situation, right? People like, oh, I'm hungry, I need money. The girl's trying to get money from the guys, and the guy like, oh, it's the food bank's right around the corner from you. And she's like, that's not what I want. then you don't want to be helped, And that's another thing too, having boundaries and things of that sort, to know
Yeah.
what it is that you're going to do and what you're not going to do, because people will get
Hmm.
over on you. So you want to be mindful of that, because you
Yeah.
burn yourself out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You burn yourself out, and we don't want that to
Yeah.
happen, right?
No, you gotta know where the Lord wants you to stretch in. Because we
Yeah.
will get burned out at times, but sometimes you gotta come to the end of yourself.
Hmm.
It's like the Lord is like, you need me. I'm really the source. That's what the
Yeah.
Lord's saying. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can do it. Like you said, like I can do it and I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I need to happen to the right source for the right
Yeah.
thing, right? If this is
Yeah.
the lane that the Lord has me in, let me practice tapping in on him because, you know,
Yeah. You
I'm
know,
going to the end of myself.
my business again, Jesus. Here we go. The other day, or not the other day, probably a couple months ago now, but I was doing something and I thought that I was helping the process. I was like, I got it, I'm helping out, right? And I was like, this is not a group assignment. I said, oh,
Ooh.
when I tell you he be getting me together, I love him. I appreciate it. But when I say he got me together, I was like, you're right. You got that. I need to work on this. So again, knowing what it is you should be doing, what it is you shouldn't be doing. And that's a part of, again, in that review. In this year, what are some things you should have let go of that you didn't let go of? What are some things you're still holding on to? What are the things you need to let go before 12/31, 2025, 11/59 turns to January 1, 2026, 12/01, because we don't want to hold on to those things that's going to, mess us up. Again, still all in the theme of a review, like reviewing the hard seasons, reviewing what your mindset was, your boundaries, relationships, finances, emotions.
Yeah.
I'm going back to your job too. Is that job giving you peace or is it stressing you out? Does your household bring you peace or is it stressing you out?
Yeah.
Because then we
Yeah.
got to clean up the house and get some things in order. Being careful who's coming in and who's going out, things of that sort.
Yeah.
Well, it's adjusting our
Mhm.
mindset, adjusting some
Mhm.
boundaries, adjusting some relationships. Because
Yeah.
no, I know you need money, but I can't keep giving it to you. I have a rule with my nieces and nephews,
Mhm.
and they'll ask to borrow money, telling their business. Um, yeah, right. They'll ask to borrow money, right? And I'll say, you can borrow money, but if you don't pay it back, I can't give it back to you again, right?
Mhm.
Because I can't keep on being a bank because I'm
Right.
feeling good by working. They not feeling me back in, and I'm trying to teach them some responsibility. So if you
Yeah.
borrow $5 from me, $5, yes, I want my $5 back because I'm trying to teach them that you can come to
Mhm.
me for support, but you can't abuse my support. And then
Yeah.
there's sometimes where I'm like, don't worry about it.
Mhm.
So, child, my godson hit me up all the time. I can't wait till that baby graduate with his doctorate, psychiatry. I mean, being medicine and things. Because I'm like, let me get $20. Your best friend, remember?
Right.
But all in all, like creating those boundaries because we'll just give, and God will return. Because there's some times that I've given and it's come back to me right away. There's some times that I've given, and I'm like, child, you should have kept that to yourself. So again, being mindful and adjusting, setting boundaries and rules, because if not, the expectation is, oh, she got it. She got it. I may have,
Yeah.
but I got other stuff I'm trying to do.
It could be for something else. Like this is not the cup that I'm supposed to be pouring into right now. So I gotta
Yes.
say no so I can say yes to something else.
Yes. Yes. And that's that part of being selective too. Like these people come and they're like leeches. They just
Yeah.
take, take, take. You have to be able to cut them off and say, I can't do this anymore. And they're
Mm,
gonna try. They may try to switch on you and things of that sort, but you have to also be able to stand up for yourself. And when we're going in 2026, those
mhm.
things that was trying to bring you down, in that crab barrel where they're trying to help you get down. No, we want to push each other up. One bad apple does spoil the bunch. If you've never seen it,
You
do a
know,
science experiment at home. Put a bad one by the good ones, and you'll see that they feed off
it'll
each other.
start the soil.
So we
And
don't want that.
you really are when you're saying no or to someone, you're supporting them. You're helping them. When you notice patterns where it's kind of like, I see what's happening here, and it's probably best for me to tell you no. And I can tell you why. And it's not personal, but I
Mhm.
love you, right?
Yeah.
Because if I didn't love you, I could just ignore you because that's
Mhm.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But being able to say, like, this is also out of care for both of us at the
Yeah.
same time, if this is not what we need to be doing, you know?
Yeah, I like it. So again, doing a review. Um, oh my business. Because as the year also comes to, and I also evaluate friends. Who really
Ooh,
had my back? Should they have the same level of friendship? You know,
that's
do I
a
bend over backwards for them and stuff, and they didn't bend over backwards for me? And I get it. Yes, you give, and it doesn't always come back to you. It comes back to you a different way. But
mhm,
also being mindful of who you are putting in that circle, right? Because that circle,
mhm,
again, you don't need that many people. You just need a couple. And I
mhm.
got a couple I can call, hey, I need a prayer. They're going to go to the gates for me. I need a prayer. I'm going to go to the gates for them and things this work. So there are some people where
Yeah,
you do need it to be that two-way street where you both get fulfilled. But those
yes.
people where it's like, it's not serving you anymore, let it ride. Because
It's
again, you'll have that in your heart. God told me about a situation. He was like,
yeah.
let it go, the problem that you have with that person, or let them go.
Mm, mm,
I said,
mm.
when I tell you he be getting me together,
That is heavy. That's heavy. Being able to, I think that's really important because sometimes we can harbor things
yeah,
in our relationships, and it's kind of like,
mhm,
all right, if you can't let this go, one, you need to
yeah,
talk to them. You
yeah,
need to have a
yeah,
conversation, being able to walk through it,
mhm,
and also sometimes in certain seasons, friendships expectations have to adjust. Like
yes,
life happens, people get married, people traveling, people doing a
yeah,
lot of things, and also
yeah,
people are just different. You
mhm,
know, I know for myself, I can be, and I know people complain about this about me, but I'm somebody like I can be good for a few days. You know,
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
I'm like I'm 50-50 down the middle. Like I can be by myself and then I can
yeah,
be around a lot of people. But
yeah,
everybody isn't like that. And I've had to
mhm,
teach myself to, extend where needed, but also say like this is what I need.
yeah,
And in this season, this is what's happening, and being
yes,
able to figure out where the Lord has this friendship,
yes,
because I don't want it to spoil. I want it to be I want to be intentional about it, right?
yes,
So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm just like throwing them by the wayside. But like, how can we meet in the middle? What does this
yeah,
look like? How can we manage our expectations and then
yeah,
also extend grace when needed? Because again, it takes work to maintain good friendships, and I don't always do it perfectly at all. But I do love my friends. I do
yeah,
love them
yeah.
very much.
It's funny. I never forget. I was having this conversation with two guys. We were doing a podcast, whatever, and they was like, "When you think of relationships, what comes to mind?" I was like, it takes work. It was like, oh, it was highly upset. 2 seconds later, they said, yeah, well, it takes effort. And in my head, I'm like,
What's that?
you're right. It takes effort. And every day you got to show up to give effort. You got to clock in every day because you want to let them know you want to be there. It takes effort, right?
Right.
Yes, friendships are work. And you got to have that conversation. Because even in me saying I'm doing that evaluation of who was there, who wasn't there, it's also maybe, did I check in? Are they going through? Let me see what's going on, right? So it's not a stop up, they didn't check in on me. We playing phone tag, we doing those petty games. No, let me check in and see how they doing. Life is life for me, or it's busy for me, and I'm doing different
Yeah.
things. So I know it might be for them too, but their work. But if you really appreciate them, if you really want them, you'll do what? The work. You'll put in what? The effort
Mhm.
to make
Yeah.
sure that it keeps on going. And it's also okay if it does end. Seasons change. Some
Yeah.
people are here for a lifetime. Some people are here for a season, a reason.
Mhm.
Somebody once told me I'm here for a reason and a lesson and a lesson. They ain't never lied.
Listen to the lesson.
But again, they are work, but they can work out. So again, when you're reviewing,
Yeah.
your friendships and connections, how could you have been a better friend? How could you have showed up a little bit more? And if you feel
Mhm.
like they could have showed up a little bit more, you having that conversation. That's a big
Yeah.
thing in even couples and marriage relationships, right?
Mhm.
Um, she wasn't talking to me, so I found a work wife. Got a work husband. You want to be careful, babies,
Don't do
because you want to
that.
be able to have
Mhm.
conversation with your loved one and say, this is what I need. This is what
Mhm.
I'm looking for, because we're ever changing, ever evolving as
Yes.
you're evaluating.
Yes.
This is good. I like it. I
This
like
is
it.
good. Yes.
So, friends, I did compile some questions that I do want you to reflect on as you're balancing this thing called life, and I'll put it in my link tree where I have I think it's called Jen Care's guest recommendations and things. So I'll put some questions there for you to ponder on. What stands out to you about your year? What brought you peace? What brought you joy? Who
Mm.
and what should you leave in 2025? Who and what should you take into 2026? Like what defines you? And if you could sum up the year in one word, what would it be? So I'm going to share those questions. Jenay, if you have any, send them over and I'll put them in. And we'll
Mhm.
share them out for you to really take a moment to like really review. Today is the 8th. I don't know how many more days it is to the 31st. Math, it's not today. But you know what I'm saying? Take this time to really review how this year was for you. What was good for you? Did you see God? Do you have a relationship with God? Do you want a relationship with God? All those things. Send me a message. Let's talk about it, right? But just making sure that we're putting our best foot forward as we go into the new year. The theme for this year at my church is called Next Level Living. And next level
Mhm.
meant I had to let some things go. I had to move up. And I did move up in some areas, but there's some other areas I need to move up in. So I got to get
Mhm.
myself together when I'm going on my final date of the year. It's just me and myself and I get to order whatever I want. I don't got to share. I can leave all those good
Mhm.
things. What things I need to challenge myself in, like you said, what areas I need to invest in. Maybe I need to get up a little earlier so I can really have fellowship time with God to pray, to
Mhm.
read my Bible a little bit more. Or I have a friend, she sets a schedule. Every day at 7 o'clock, she says a prayer. She's like, no, this is me and God prayer. I like it. Go ahead, sis, go on and pray. Like,
Mhm.
you actually, dear God, thank you for this day, and things of that sort. So
Mhm.
again, you set some boundaries for yourself and some rules that you're going to stick to for 2026. Again, have a good one. What's something you want us to walk away with today?
Ooh, I would say take the leap. Take the leap. The thing that you've been thinking about, the thing that you have wanted to do for a long time, but you just haven't done it. And it's
Yes.
something that could shake things up for yourself and for others as well. But if that's something, that's an area that you know you need to lean into it. Take the leap. Seriously consider it. Because a lot of times that thing, you could be thinking about it for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And we don't know how long we have on this earth. We do
Yes.
not know how long. I think about some of the um, young people that are close to me that I've lost in our youth program, and how I have to say, like, man, who knew that they were old?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We think they're young, but they're going tomorrow. And you
Yes.
want to do whatever it is on your heart, whatever the Lord has put on your heart to do, go ahead and do it, and do it
Yes.
fully, right?
Yes.
Do it without any without any resistance.
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna stumble, but you can still move forward. But that's what I want to leave people with. And be encouraged. Be
Yes.
encouraged. It's okay. Amen.
Oh, I want to just tag on your take the leap. I like that. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, it's still great. Why? Take the lessons from that leap so
Yeah.
that your next leap goes further.
Mm,
That
yeah.
your next leap is cultivated to do what it needs to do to get
Yeah.
to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Take the leap. I like that. I like that. Oh, this is so good, girl.
Yes.
I love it. You come back in January.
I'll listen. You let me know the date, and I'll be here.
Cool, 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 cool. Friends, we're gonna do this again in January because I just like having these kind of conversations where we just have a heart to heart about and let it flow, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what it's about. And sometimes we don't have these conversations that we need to have. Oh,
Yeah.
this is so good. Friends, yes, please do like and share. Drop a comment down if you got any questions before we go. We do thank you for joining us on tonight. Yeah, so I'm gonna put those questions in. Give me by tomorrow by noon because I'm going to sleep. I'm still a little jet lagged. So I'm gonna have those questions on my post by 12 noon tomorrow for you to really explore and see how that goes. I do thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all had a good time as much as I did. Check out what Swagger is doing. They got some amazing content. They got some amazing programs and services that they are offering. I'm so honored to be connected to Swagger Magazine because why I got swag. I
Period.
love them over there. Good people, and they're about sharing good information with the world. So be sure to follow them. Be sure to follow me. Be sure to follow Coach Jenay. We're doing some amazing things in the world. And I want to follow you too. Let me know what it is that you're doing. So this was good. I thank you so much for joining me, girl.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thanks for
Don't
having
leave. I'll be right back. So, friends, thank you so much for joining us on this evening as we had Coach Jenay. I had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. Such a good conversation. Such a good conversation. Okay, let me close out. Don't forget our quote of the day. Life is a learning experience. What are you teaching? What are you learning? And that's by yours truly. Again, life is a learning experience. Make sure that you're teaching something and make sure that you are learning something from every encounter because that helps you to teach somebody else. Everybody's a teacher. Teach them about your life, how you made it. Okay, friends, it is hoodie season, so be sure to head over to our website, Chosen Counselors, to get your actually, it's not hoodie season. If you're in Philadelphia, it's cold season. But we do have I don't have the capacity hoodie. We also have our new hoodie, Check on Your Friends, and we have our limited edition shirt. Let me ask God first. We just talked about that. Y'all gonna need that for the spring and summer because you want to make sure that people is consulting God before doing things. God, should I be with this man? Let me show y'all. Should I be with this woman? Should I take this job? Should I buy this house? Should I buy this car? Everything we want to consult to make sure that we are doing what we need to do. Because we get a car and then we can't afford it. Or we get a car and it's a dud. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't have did this. Because further down the line, had we waited just a couple more moments, a blessing was going to come out. That's a word. Write it down. Okay. Also, Boss Girl Planner and Journal. I'm taking a leap again. We did our Chosen for This planner and journal 2 years ago. Someone reached out to me. They was like, they wanted 3 copies. I was like, I got a new one. She was like, I want 3 copies of that one too. So I've sold 7 of these already. They come in next week, but I'm so excited for them. It is the Boss Girl Planner and Journal. As you see on the cover is me, the Boss Girl, encouraging you, Boss Girls, that you can do anything that you set your mind to. So do stay tuned on my page. I'll be posting it next week. It'll be out. You can order it. Let me tell you, it was done in January. I ain't gonna hold you. But what took me long was just me procrastinating and taking my time. And now I'm struggling because I like to do a nice package when I send it to y'all. But I ordered everything. Everything is already here. So I'm excited. Make sure you get your Boss Girl Journal. Make it as a great gift for a friend or yourself. Again, thank you for joining us. I love y'all so much. We'll be back in January. People are already signing up to come and talk with Jen and just share about what's going on in life. Because we bring the community to you. If you know somebody that will be a great guest that could share their life and help me share more of my business, because that's what I'm doing every time. Okay, I'm gonna help y'all. I'm gonna teach y'all, learn experience, right? But if you know somebody that would be great, send them my way. I do love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for hanging with me. Until next time, good night.
Thanks for joining Jen Cares this week. Special thanks to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, guests, and viewers. Such a good conversation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you found value in today's show, we'd appreciate your sharing it with a friend and dropping a comment down below. Until next time.